Bombay Chamber of Commerce and Industry is the oldest association of its kind in the country. It is headquartered in Mumbai, the commercial capital of the country, and has been around for 175 years.
Well, I think the Bombay Chamber's history is sort of inextricably linked with the recent modern history of Bombay. Looking at some of the early minutes of the turn of the century, that's the 19th to the 20th century, you see amazing contributions that the Bombay Chamber made to the emerging city.
The Chamber was founded in 1836 by John Skinner, a British businessman who was instrumental in setting up the Bank of Bombay. In its initial years, the Bombay Chamber fought for a uniform tariff applicable to all Indian ports, pleaded for the abolition of transit and export duties, and managed Bombay Port. It was also largely responsible for the first railway built in India between Bombay and Thane, completed in 1853. The Chamber's relentless advocacy in favor of an efficient postal system led to the enactment of the India Postage Act of 1854. The opening of the Suez Canal in 1869 and the establishment of a telegraph link between India and Europe saw a big boom in trade. Bombay Port flourished as India's economy got increasingly integrated with the rest of the world.
When individuals or companies wish to project their views to the government, it makes sense for them to do that through the Chamber, because the quality of the response which the government or an individual policy maker makes to that representation is determined by the degree of respect the person who makes the representation commands with that organization. And that is where the Bombay Chamber scores, because it commands such a high degree of respect with the government.
To the Chamber goes the credit for the idea of setting up a port trust in 1873. During the 1930s, the Chamber participated in discussions on setting up the country's central bank and apex monetary authority, the Reserve Bank of India, and stressed that it should truly be a banker's bank, free from any vestige of political control.
That was a time of a total evolution of the Chamber, because the history of the Chamber in the past was like all other chambers in India. They were heavily biased in favor of the multinationals. So when independence came in, the whole structure of Bombay Chamber changed, and it is to the merit of the Chamber that they changed very, very rapidly.
Bombay was once a small trading post of the British Empire. Mumbai, with a population in excess of 15 million, is now the commercial, financial and entertainment capital of the world's largest democracy. Today, there are more than 4,000 companies that are members of the Bombay Chamber. These organizations together contribute almost 1/3 of India's gross domestic product from manufacturing and services. A significant proportion of the companies that are members of the Bombay Chamber is involved in international trade.
I think the Chamber played a very important role all along. But its relevance keeps on changing. During our time, there was the issue of the textile mills, there was the issue of very militant trade union movement, etc. And we interacted strongly with the state government as well as the central government in order to deal with these issues. Today's issues are quite different.
I see the Bombay Chamber, especially given the preeminence of Mumbai as the commercial capital of the country, as a preeminent organization serving trade, industry and commerce with a view to further the industrial development of the country for the overall good of both its members and the country in an ethical manner.
The fact that Bombay Chambers is located in Mumbai, the financial capital of this country, positions it extremely well, positions it well to have a point of view on very significant issues. But Bombay Chamber aspires to be more than just a regional chamber. It is a chamber that wishes to have an influence and an impact on any issue that of national significance that exists.
The Chamber's deliberations have never been restricted to just the narrow issues of concern immediately to our membership base, but also deliberate and debate, contribute ideas to issues of wider interest. So whether it is the city of Mumbai, for example, the Bombay Chamber has steadfastly supported it financially and in other ways.
We want to now expand the agenda of the Bombay Policy Trust to start looking at a research agenda for Bombay, where we do independent research so that some of the advice that we give would be much more informed advice to government based on very solid research. We are also trying to look at a whole series of public debates on issues that are of concern to citizens, where we do not have an independent counterfactual view of current policies. So it's a way of actually bringing to the public a whole range of new approaches that could be discussed and perhaps implemented.
Bombay Chamber from last year and running into this year has taken up corporates as citizens as the overarching theme of its activities. In keeping that in mind, this year Bombay Chamber decided to lead by example sort of and take up the interesting project of developing a Center of Excellence of Skill Development in a backward district of Maharashtra.
The Vara project is an initiative of the Bombay Chamber of Commerce which provides a distinctive platform for the arts and crafts of Maharashtra, which otherwise were languishing in the interior, and this gives them a very visibility right up front in the heart of financial capital of India. So Bombay Chamber also initiated the bandstand culture, and this was really to create an environment going back to a century ago, which also provides a platform for youth to display their creative abilities in front of diverse audience.
Bombay First mission is to improve the quality of life of people in the city of Bombay. So they are now deeply involved in many social elements. And I think that's a new changing face of industry. I do not believe that today any industry can disregard the inequities that exist in our system, the inequalities that exist in our system. So therefore you have to be much more active in areas which are not commercial. They're more social activism.
Bombay Chamber has chosen a certain theme for itself, a theme which is very relevant in the India of today. And that theme is around what I would call a corporate with a conscience.
In the past few years, the nation has been plagued by what I would call as a trust deficit. And it is therefore very important that we as members of civil society who have such an influence on the economy, polity and the conscience of the nation should behave, subscribe and conduct ourselves in a manner that it sets an example for the rest of the society to follow.
Corrupt practices or unethical practices lead to inefficient output. And thirdly, always corruption, the poor and the underprivileged are the most impacted. It's in this background that we have this code of ethics. Basically, it's purely voluntary for our members. And you'll be pleased to note that from the time we started, we got more than 120 of our members who have already signed up. This code, it has got 12 principles on which the code is made. This would help in terms of sustainable development. We have consciousness to the nation, shunning of corrupt practices, avoiding insider trading. In short, how could businesses be sustainable so that you make meaning to the economy, to the ecology, safety to the environment, safety to your people, and to the society in which we serve.
In the course of a year, the Chamber organizes more than 300 events, including seminars, workshops, lectures and B2B meetings. Besides, interactions with regulators and with visiting dignitaries from abroad. The Chamber is, in fact, a natural port of call for business delegations from across the world when they come to Mumbai. To serve its members, the Chamber disseminates important information through its publications such as the Chamber Review, Analytic and Digest of Labour Laws, as well as through its interactive website. It also provides advisory services to members on industrial disputes and arbitration.
A real challenge which a chamber faces, not just Bombay Chamber, but any chamber, is to get a proactive approach in the dialogue with the government for policy making. It is very easy to react and protest. It is difficult to bring a consensus amongst the membership and then present a proactive paper to the government. The performance therefore is not of a soloist, but the chamber is in a way like an orchestra, and even one small discordant voice may mar the entire performance. So can the chamber actually jointly write the score with the government rather than perform as a soloist? The Bombay Chamber on this count has a stellar performance.
The Bombay Chamber believes that its most important constituency is the future and therefore the youth of the nation. It also believes that it is ideally poised today to make a meaningful and demonstrable impact on not just Maharashtra's economy, but on the economy and polity of the nation as a whole.